Imagine this. The Indiana Fever are on fire. The crowd is electric, Caitlin Clark is draining shots from deep, and momentum is swinging in Indiana's favor. But suddenly, the game takes a shocking turn. Aya Wilson, one of the WNBA's most dominant forces, starts playing with a level of physicality that leaves fans gasping and Caitlin Clark visibly furious on the court. We're talking elbows, shoves, body checks, the kind of plays that toe the line between aggressive defense and flat-out dirty basketball. The referees? Silent. Whistles swallowed. And the Fever fans? Outraged. Chanting for justice while Caitlin Clark's frustration boils over for the world to see. But here's the twist. Instead of backing down, Caitlin and the Fever rise up. Fueled by the disrespect, Indiana answers back with one of their most passionate performances yet, proving that no amount of dirty plays or biased refereeing could stop their fire. Tonight, we're breaking it all down. From Aya Wilson's controversial plays to Caitlin Clark's fiery response to how the referees lost control of the game. This is the story of a showdown that shook the WNBA. Get ready, because this isn't just basketball. This is about respect, rivalries, and revenge. And trust me, you're going to want to see how it all unfolded. The Clash of Titans. This wasn't just another game, it was Indiana Fever versus Las Vegas Aces. Caitlin Clark versus
Aya Wilson.
A matchup fans had been waiting for all season. Clark, the rookie sensation rewriting history books, squaring off against Wilson, the two-time MVP and champion. From the opening tip, it was clear this wasn't going to be a soft, friendly contest. Wilson set the tone immediately with her physical defense, throwing her weight around every time Clark touched the ball. The message? Welcome to the WNBA, rookie. But Caitlin wasn't backing down. She hit her first deep three and stared right back at Wilson. The intensity was sky high, and the crowd could feel it. Two generations of greatness colliding on one court, and everyone knew sparks were about to fly. The first dirty play. Midway through the first quarter, the game took a controversial turn. Clark drove into the lane trying to dish out a pass when Wilson came crashing in. Instead of going for the ball, her arm came down across Caitlin's shoulders. The rookie stumbled hard to the floor. Fans roared, expecting a whistle. But nothing. The referees simply let it go. Cameras zoomed in on Clark's face, and you could see the anger building. She mouthed something toward the referee, pointing at her shoulder as Fever fans erupted in boos. Commentators immediately debated. Was this strong defense or a dirty foul ignored by the officials? Either way, the message was clear. Wilson wasn't going to give Caitlin Clark an easy night, and the referees weren't interested in protecting her. Clark's boiling point. By the second quarter, the frustration was written all over Caitlin Clark's face. She had been bumped, pushed, and shoved on nearly every possession. Wilson even delivered a sneaky elbow while fighting for a rebound. Again, no whistle. At one point, Clark slammed the ball to the floor after a missed call, earning her a warning from the ref. Fans watching live and at home took to social media instantly, calling the officiating a complete embarrassment. Yet, instead of folding under the pressure, Caitlin did what she always does. Turned her frustration into fire. She nailed back-to-back threes from well beyond the arc, pulling the Fever right back into the game. As the crowd exploded, Clark glared toward Wilson, her expression screaming, "You can hit me all you want, but you can't stop me." The crowd erupts. Every great rivalry has a moment when the fans become part of the story, and this was it. By halftime, Indiana fans had completely turned against the referees. Every shove by Wilson, every slap on the wrist, every missed call had the crowd booing louder than ever. Chants of "refs you suck" echoed throughout the arena. Fever supporters weren't just backing Caitlin Clark, they were defending their entire team. The atmosphere grew more hostile with every play. Even commentators admitted the referees had lost control of the game. Wilson, however, thrived off the chaos. She smirked after every bucket, feeding off the boos. But what she didn't expect was how much that same energy was fueling Clark and the Fever. This was no longer just a basketball game. It was war inside four quarters. The Fever strike back. Coming out of halftime, it was clear the Fever weren't going to be pushed around anymore. Aaliyah Boston, the Rookie of the Year, started muscling her way inside, matching Wilson's physicality play for play. Lexi Hull and Kelsey Mitchell locked down defensively, swarming the aces at every chance. And then Caitlin Clark caught fire again. She pulled up from the logo, draining it like it was nothing. The crowd lost their minds. Indiana was no longer playing on defense, they were on the attack. Every hard foul against Clark only seemed to make her stronger. Instead of folding, she smiled, picked herself up, and knocked down shot after shot. The Fever's message was clear. If you want to play dirty, we'll play fearless. And that's exactly what turned the momentum. Wilson pushes the limit. If fans thought Wilson would back off, they were wrong. In the third quarter, she delivered her most controversial move yet. After Clark sank a jumper, Wilson shoved her while jogging back down the court. Clark stumbled, nearly falling into the scorer's table. Once again, no whistle. The arena exploded in anger. Even analysts began openly criticizing the referees, questioning whether Clark was being unfairly targeted. But here's the thing about Wilson. She thrives on intimidation. She wanted Clark to feel the weight of her presence, to second-guess every drive, every shot. But Caitlin didn't blink. She simply brushed herself off and responded with a laser pass to Boston for an easy bucket. Wilson may have been the enforcer, but Clark was proving she was the engine, and nothing could derail her focus. Referees under fire. By the fourth quarter, the spotlight wasn't just on the players anymore, it was on the referees. Social media was ablaze with hashtags like #ProtectCaitlin Clark trending. Fans accused the refs of letting the Aces get away with murder. Analysts replayed the most brutal fouls, highlighting the blatant non-calls. Even Fever head coach Stephanie White couldn't hold back, seen furiously yelling at the officials during a timeout. The referees had completely lost control, and everyone knew it. Still, instead of collapsing under the injustice, Indiana dug even deeper. Clark led a furious rally, pulling the Fever within striking distance. For every missed call, the Fever answered with heart. It was chaos, controversy, and pure drama, the kind of game that defines seasons. Clark's revenge. With just minutes left, Caitlin Clark delivered the dagger. After being battered all night, she dribbled past Wilson, stepped back from deep, and nailed a three that sent the arena into an earthquake of sound. Clark pounded her chest, screaming with pure emotion, her eyes locked on Wilson. It was the ultimate statement. You can try to beat me up, but you'll never break me. Fever fans leapt to their feet, chanting Clark's name. Even Wilson looked stunned for a moment, realizing the rookie wasn't just surviving, she was thriving. That shot wasn't just 3 points on the board. It was symbolic. It was revenge served cold. And it turned a night of frustration into a night of triumph for Caitlin Clark. Indiana Fever's unstoppable energy. The final stretch belonged entirely to Indiana. Aaliyah Boston dominated inside, grabbing rebounds and finishing with authority. Kelsey Mitchell hit clutch shots. Lexi Hull played suffocating defense. And Caitlin Clark orchestrated it all like a maestro. The Fever fed off the chaos, turning Wilson's dirty plays and the ref's silence into pure motivation. Every possession felt like a statement. Fans were on their feet, roaring with every bucket, every defensive stop. What started as a night of unfairness had transformed into one of unity. The Fever were unstoppable, not because everything went their way, but because nothing could shake their belief. This wasn't just about one game anymore. It was about proving to the league that Indiana wouldn't be pushed around. The aftermath. When the final buzzer sounded, the Indiana Fever stood tall. Caitlin Clark had survived one of the most physical, controversial games of her young career and emerged stronger. Wilson walked off with her usual swagger, but the night didn't belong to her. It belonged to Clark and the Fever, who refused to bow down. Post-game interviews showed Caitlin still visibly frustrated, but also proud. "We're not here to be intimidated," she said. "We're here to win." Fans online called it one of the most dramatic WNBA games of the season, with highlight reels going viral instantly. Analysts debated whether Wilson crossed the line and whether referees needed to step up. But one thing was undeniable. Caitlin Clark had earned even more respect. not just for her skills, but for her toughness. And Indiana Fever? They weren't just a young team anymore. They were a force. So what did we just witness? A game that will go down as one of the most controversial and unforgettable battles in WNBA history. Aya Wilson tested Caitlin Clark with every trick in the book. Shoves, elbows, intimidation. The referees failed to control the chaos. But in the end, it wasn't about the whistles. It was about heart. Caitlin Clark proved that no amount of dirty plays could silence her greatness. She turned frustration into fuel, anger into inspiration, and led the Indiana Fever to a defining victory. And the fans? They'll never forget the night their team stood tall against the odds. This game wasn't just about basketball, it was about respect. It was about a rookie refusing to be bullied and a team refusing to be stopped. Now I want to hear from you. Did Aya Wilson cross the line? Were the referees to blame for losing control of the game? Or did this just make Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever even stronger? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Smash that like button if you think Clark proved she's the real deal. And don't forget to subscribe for more WNBA breakdowns, stories, and viral moments you won't want to miss.